Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Melchizedek Chronicles. It's your host, I'm your host, Kenny Williamson. So we're back with another episode, and got a lot of different little things to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about Netflix today, but before we do that, hey, I wanted to remind everybody, number one, about if you want a free sticker, go to itsflatbro.com. I think you, or maybe you go to Truth Seekers, ministry.org and hit the free sticker button, or kennywilliamson.com. And we'll send you a free sticker if you want one. We've sent a few out already. I'll send as many as I can out while supplies last. I don't have like millions of them or anything, but I do have quite a few. If you want one, if not, whatever. So got that. And I also wanted to let you guys know, and let me get a picture of it here. If I can figure out how to do that. Yeah, there we go. This is a little thing called TrutherCon. It's called, and you can get the information from truthercon.com, and basically it says, welcome to the Truther Revolution, and it comes from the guy's putting it on is the Skiba News Nation, and this thing is in Dallas, Texas, and it's October 25th, 26th of this year, 2025, and I am going to be there, just so you know. I do have tickets to go to that. It is in Dallas, Texas, so I'm going to be there between the 24th and the 26th. I am not a speaker. I am just going to be a guest there. But I am going to be handing out a few of my Flat Earth books and some new business cards that gets you, shows you my website and everything if you're interested. So if you are in the area over there, I will be there at this convention. And again, it is called the TrutherCon Convention, and you can get all their information right from their website. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. So, hopefully, there will be some people there that maybe listen and do a little meet and greet, and, that'd be nice, I think. Let's see, what were we going to talk about today? I think what we're going to talk about today is what I had planned is, I'm sure you've already heard of it if you haven't. I was going to do this several days ago because it's been going on for a while, but I just haven't had time to get in here and do a podcast. But it's the cancel Netflix. And so that's trending right now on X, probably on other platforms. I don't know. I don't get on a lot of other ones, but there's a group that's on X and others called the Libs of TikTok. And they, they showcase lots of these liberals and what they're doing. I call them the Lunatic Left. Okay, so we've got a lot of Lunatic Left out there. And it just so happens, and I try to say this in a nice way, maybe not all, but most Democrats fall into the Lunatic Left. Why, I don't know. Okay. And I'm not one of these red against blue, Republican, Democrat thing. I'm not into all that. They've all got their problems. But it just so happens that if you call yourself a Democrat today, chances are you're a lunatic left. And these lunatic left all have the same ideology. Okay. They hate God. They hate the Bible, they hate the truth, and they basically worship the devil. Now, they may not openly worship the devil because they're probably going to say, oh, I don't believe in the devil. They claim they don't believe in that as well. But they do everything the devil wants them to do, which is opposite of what's good. And for some reason, these guys, they have no morals at all. So, it seems like one of their main goals right now of these lunatic left is to indoctrinate your children. Okay, so, they do not want a normal child growing up for some reason. And it baffles me because everything that they do and they support is actually a detriment to them. And that's what's so funny. It's so, I guess they just, obviously God has sent them a delusion. They're so delusional that, I don't know. I guess they can never come back from it because, these same lunatic lefties, they're promoting, their big thing is abortion. If you get pregnant, they want you to kill your baby. And, it's a sacrifice to Baal. It's a sacrifice to Satan. They won't come out and admit that, but that's what it's doing. And, they even talk about it in magazines, while you're getting an abortion, if you'll chant these different words and stuff, you can basically sacrifice your baby. Yeah. So, I mean, they're completely unhinged, demonic in every detail. So number one, if you get pregnant and you're lunatic left, they want you to kill your baby. Okay. If for some reason you decide to keep the baby, well, now we need to figure out a way to castrate or mutilate your baby. So you decide to keep it. Of course, they're going to try to talk you out of it. And all the way up until the baby's born, they're like, even if the baby's born, you can still decide to go ahead. You don't have to keep this baby. So they really want you to get rid of it. And, they've got doctors that will take a pair of scissors and they just stab them and throw them in the trash can after they're born. That's what they're talking about. So it's disgusting. But at the same time, they also have a little thing going on where they want to collect these baby parts and they're selling them and doing all kinds of stuff with them, and they've got them undercover film doing that. It's funny because anytime anybody goes undercover and blows the whistle on these guys, the person who blows the whistle is the one that gets arrested. The ones that are committing the crimes never do. Imagine that. So, you're a lunatic left. Most of them are bragging about how many abortions they've had. They're holding up signs. I've had 15 abortions. I mean, they're proud of this. Obviously, they're not paying for them, okay, or they wouldn't be doing it because somebody else must be paying for it because that'd be getting very expensive. So their whole ideology is, hey, go have sex with as many people as you can. Who cares? And then if you get pregnant, well, just somebody else is going to pay to have the baby aborted. But then if you decide to keep it, well, is it a boy or a girl? Well, when it's born, it's like, non-binary. So if it's a little boy, let's purposely dress them up in little girls' clothes. If it's a little girl, let's purposely dress them up in boys' clothes and try to raise them non-binary. And then when they get about 3 or 4 years old, depending on which state you're in, let's try to have the baby butchered. Let's have, everything removed from a child. And so if you're against that, well, then they'll try to do it behind your back. Okay. So these lunatic left, they want you either dead at birth or they want you to be non-binary or LGBTQ or something like that. And the whole idea is to get where, you don't have any more kids. That's the one thing about these lunatic left they don't understand is the devil wants you dead. The devil wants them dead. And the devil is using them to kill themselves, but they're too stupid to realize it. So at every turn, it's slice and dice and kill. Every turn, every move they make. And these lunatic lefties, they're just too stupid to realize that because they've got a delusion. They're delusional. And that's biblical. They're unsaved and, they're on their way to hell. And so this is what's leading them into hell. Unfortunately, So, but they can't stop there. Not only do they want to do it to their children, they want to do it to your children. Okay? So you can't have a normal child, and I mean you can, but if you send them to a normal public school, God only knows what they're teaching them these days. They're trying to do all kinds of stuff. You just wouldn't believe it. And it may not be happening at your school, maybe, wherever you're at when you're listening to this, but it's happening at majority. So, but that's the teachers that they've hired. They've hired these lunatic left as teachers, and that's what they want to do, is indoctrinate your child into some filth sex. It seems like that's all they're interested in, is little kids and sex, pedophilia. They want to normalize it. And for some reason, it seems to only be the Democrats. So, why is that, I wonder? I don't know. But so now they've went on, of course, they've been doing this for years. And so, of course, it's infiltrated into Hollywood, which we all knew. That's why, like I've said in another podcast, it's like, I think it said 90% or like 98%. I'm trying to remember that. It was in the 90s of all Hollywood, of your big A-list actors, okay, and actresses, all of their kids are trans. All of them. 90-some%. So it's like, how does 90-some% of all the kids from that group become trans? Well, see, that's what they push. These big A-listers, they're demonic. They worship the devil. They openly worship the devil. So there's no doubt about that. Most of them are pedophiles openly. They hint about it. They tweet about it. They comment about it. Then they'll delete it, but somebody always takes a picture before they get it deleted. So they're basically pedophiles. They're devil worshipers. And that's what you'd expect from Hollywood. Okay, so that's what it is. So, I hate to bust your bubble if you're big into movies. And don't get me wrong, I used to be really big into movies. I like movies. However, it was very saddening to see lots of these people that I used to look up to as Hollywood actors that are that's what they are. They're lunatic left. Of course, they'll tell you anything and they do the opposite. That's always what the left does as well. So whatever they're doing, they don't want you to do. Or if they're doing a crime, they accuse you of doing a crime because they're doing the crime, which is exactly what Satan does. He's known as the accuser. Okay? He goes to heaven and accuses you in front of God, trying to, get you in trouble. But if you're saved, you have a perfect defense because you have the blood of Jesus Christ to save you. So his accusations do nothing. But the devil's known as the accuser. And that's what these libs do. Okay? All this lunatic left, they always accuse you of doing the stuff they're doing. So they're demonic. Democrat equals demonic. Okay? Might not have used to, but it does now. So anyway, these same group, they want to infiltrate everything. So what they've done, of course, and we know there's going to be adult films. There's going to be all kinds of adult, demonic junk out there that any adult can get himself into. But they decided, and that's what this Netflix deal is about. What we have here is Netflix, of course, Hollywood movies. They have decided to get into the child grooming business as well. And so, that's basically what's happened. And it's been exposed. It's been exposed on X. People have finally caught on to this. And basically, what it boils down to is Netflix is what they're doing is they put out these kids shows, kids movies, that kind of stuff. It says for kids that are 2 to 7, stuff like that. And they label them as something that sounds like you could let your kid watch it. So you're flicking through Netflix and, you want your kid to watch some TV, which I think is a bad idea, but you want your kid to watch some TV, right? And so you find these little kids shows, advertised for 7-year-olds. And so you're like, okay, well, I'll let them watch this. Well, what they do is it seems like it's a pretty good deal, but somewhere in the middle or somewhere, they start trying to slip the gay agenda in or trans agenda. And so they start pushing it to these kids in these cartoons is what they're doing. But they don't tell you that up front, of course. They've hidden it. And so, let's see. Basically, according to what I found here, and this happened last week. I'll just read this to you. In the last week, millions of families across the world were again reminded that there's an epidemic of child sexual grooming being pushed on Netflix. Okay, and they started this off a long time ago with a movie called Cuties, if you don't remember that. And people were mad about it then, but people just kept paying. And it had to do with a bunch of little girls that they, had half dressed and basically put on a show for a bunch of perverts. That's who watched it. So let's see, what's the name of the first one? The first one they came up with, it's a children's show on Netflix called Dead End Paranormal Park. And, of course, I probably wouldn't let a kid watch that just because of the title. But this particular show ends up featuring a character that came out as transgender. Okay, so they've got this show, Dead End Paranormal Park, and it's got a trans person in it. And it shows a picture of this. I'll see if I don't know if you can see this or not. Of course, you may be listening to this without any video, but if this is audio only, in other words, if you're listening to this on a podcast only, it's a picture of a chubby looking fat, you can't tell if it's a boy, you can't tell if it's a girl type deal, because of course you can't, because it's transgender. And you look at the picture and it's got blue hair. So it's overweight, it's portrayed as being overweight, you can't tell if it's a boy or a girl, and it's they, them, they'll. So they don't say if it's a boy or girl because you can't assume anything. So you can't tell by the picture, of course. So in this, of course, this character is going on talking about transgender junk to kids. And then, of course, they've got the creator of the show is what some of the people are mad about. His name is Hamish. Okay, and, of course, he claims that he's they, LGBTQ, and he's on Blue Sky, of course, which is, Blue Sky is one of those pervert deals where all of these lunatic lefties go to talk about pedophilia and all their stuff and get away with it. So when X came out, or Musk bought Twitter, changed it to X, he's allowing free speech, and you can go on there and actually report the news. Okay, but these freaks come out and they're like, well, we can report stuff on there, but if we start talking about sex and pedophilia, people get mad about that and they get you kicked off. So they started their own called Blue Sky, and it's for sex perverts and queers and trans and faggots to get on there and talk about molesting little kids and talk about their filth. So this guy is on that, of course, Blue Sky. Okay, so he's on there with his filth, wanting to sexualize little kids. They can't do it with adults and just leave it at adult. Oh no, we've got to go after the little children because we're devils. Okay, so not only does he have this junk on there, he's the producer of it or whatever. Not only that, he went on there and called Charlie Kirk a Nazi after he got shot. Okay, so the whole Charlie Kirk deal, that's a whole nother podcast, but either way, if somebody gets shot or murdered because they're talking about good things, they're talking about saying the truth, and somebody gets shot, and whoever they are, and these clowns get on there and start saying, yeah, they should be shot, and we're going to shoot more people, because, they're against us. Well, you need to be arrested for that. Okay, I think. So he goes on and he calls Charlie Kirk a Nazi. And so that's another reason why people are mad, because he hasn't gotten any trouble. Netflix hasn't done a single thing to him. He just gets to, comment on his junk and do whatever he wants to do, and he still has a job, and he's producing filth for kids. So I say lock him up. But, it's not up to me. It's a good thing. It's a real good thing. As all these pedophiles and stuff, they would. Well, we know where they're going to go when they die, right? They're going to go to hell if they don't repent and change, which clearly they're not going to. So it's a good thing I'm not in charge, because I'd make sure they got there now. They wouldn't get to live out their lives in luxury in castles and mansions and with all their kids being brought to them, building mansions. No, right now. Punishment right now. But I'm not in charge, am I? Anyway, so he does this, the creator of it. And so then what we have is on X, of course, Elon Musk, who owns it. He started posting about it, so it went viral. Okay, so now we've got lots of people talking about ending their Netflix, which I have never had it. I might have had it many, many, many years ago, and I quit paying for TV and watching TV like that a long time ago. So let's go on to the next one here. So Elon Musk is pushing cancel Netflix for the health of your kids, which I would agree. This stuff is filth. But all the Hollywood stuff is filth. Not just to these kids. I mean, any of the movie, anything you watch, all the advertisements are filth. Every one of them. And so, I have some free TV. It's called Pluto. And I watch some old shows on there once in a while. And all advertisements on there are gay LGBTQ. Every one of them. And the other thing is every other commercial talks about HIV and these venereal diseases. And every character or every person in these commercials are all gay. So it's telling you, living this lifestyle, what's going to happen to you. Okay? You're going to catch a disease running around sleeping with everybody. Okay? A disease that bleach won't wash off. So you're probably going to die from it. But hey, that's why they're pushing it. Again, they want you dead. The devil wants you dead. Okay? And these libtards, Lunatic Left, they're worshiping the devil and they don't know it. And the devil's using them to kill themselves. They're too stupid to understand that. They're doing everything that the devil and the government want you to do to to get rid of yourself. They want you to genocide yourself. They're doing it already. I mean, in other ways, by poisoning water, poisoning the air, doing everything. But then they're like, here, just do it to yourself too. And they do it. Dumb. Oh, they're dumb. I saw a deal the other day on it. They've a bunch of these over there. I think it's in California. I'm not even sure where it's at. I'm pretty sure it's in California. Somewhere over there. These Lunatic Left, they voted a bunch of Muslims in. Because they love Muslims. They're all for Palestine and all this stuff. It's like, think about what you're saying. Those guys don't allow homosexuality. They condemn it. Oh, yeah, Christians, they're against homosexuals. Okay. Christians, yes, the Bible says you're not supposed to be gay. Okay. But Christians aren't out killing people that are gay. We don't care. If you want to be gay and you want to burn in hell, go ahead. It's a free country. But see, these Muslims and stuff, they don't allow it. But these libs, these Lunatic Left, they love the Muslims. They love Palestine. And then they voted them in over there. And as soon as these Muslims or Palestinians, whatever they are, took control of this little area, they immediately banned all flags or anything that has to do with LGBTQ. Banned. If you put one up, they will rip you out and beat you in the street, probably kill you. Oh, they're quiet on that. Have you heard it on the news? Well, of course not. Do you think they're upset about it? Now, if I said I was going to ban it in my town, there would be riots in the street. But when some Muslims say they're going to ban it, not a word. Not a word. And these lunatics are the ones that voted him in to their own detriment. It's like, do you not understand what these guys believe? They don't like homosexuals. They will kill you. But you're a homosexual and you're inviting them in? Go ahead. Hey, do it. I mean, it's going to shorten your lifespan. You realize that, right? But again, they do all this stuff to the detriment of themselves. So, I'm gay, so I'm going to cut my penis off. I'm trans, I'm going to cut all my sex organs off. And then I'm going to kill all the babies. And then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. Oh, and Trump says Tylenol could be bad. I'm going to take handfuls of Tylenol that sends me to the emergency room. Well, I don't like Christians, so I'm going to vote Muslims in. It's like, Muslims don't like you. They don't like gays. Oh, well, we're going to do it anyway. Well, go ahead. Go ahead. That's how stupid these people are. I mean, it's really beyond stupid. Like I said, the only thing I can figure is, like I was saying, they're devil possessed. God is allowing this to happen. He's allowing them to have a delusion, and that's fine. He's allowing it. Allow it. Hey, you want to kill yourself off? I mean, all you're doing is thinning the herd. You're killing all your babies. You're mutilating your children. And everything that's known and good and moral, you're doing opposite of. So, I mean, again, all you're doing is killing yourself. So, do it. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but you can do it. Okay, so, and this is, I'm going to see if I can share this screen to you. I'm sure it's too small to see, but I'm going to read it anyway. So let's see here. So what we have here, let me move that over a little bit. Okay. So here's some of the other shows that's on Netflix they're talking about. There's one called Strawberry Shortcake and the Beast of Berry Bog, and it promotes boys cross-dressing as girls to express themselves. And, of course, it's recommended for children of all ages. And, of course, it shows, a little boy that looks like, a queer, obviously. He's dressing up like a little girl. So, I mean, that's what they want. They want all alpha males gone, because an alpha male will say no to this. They want all men effeminate. They want all men gay or looking gay and acting gay. Okay? They want them wimps. And that's what they're getting. Of course, the Bible says a man is not to be effeminate. So we know what God thinks about it. He hates it. He doesn't want it. Specifically says not to do it. But that's why they're doing it. They do everything opposite. Okay. So let's look at another one here. Now we've got one. Now see, this one here you wouldn't even think. It's called Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. Yeah. Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, which is something to do with dinosaurs, okay? And it's pushing woke garbage and children. Of course, this show is supposed to be about dinosaurs, but something happens. There's a couple of, girls in this show, and of course they get scared. Whatever happens, they decide to lock lips and start making out in a dinosaur show. So, that's what you'd expect, right? I mean, somebody says something about kids and dinosaurs. Well, let's put a couple of lesbians on the screen that are little girls. That way we can teach little girls to be lesbians. This is Netflix, folks. This is Hollywood. This is what you get from Hollywood. You get demonic devil filth. Remember that. Okay, let's do another one. This one here I really thought was, this one here is really interesting here. Let's see. This one's called, if I'm seeing that right, Co-Connection Lane. Okay, and it showcases a little boy in a dress dancing for his two gay dads. So I saw the piece of it. There's a black gay dad and a white gay dad, and they're pushing the little white gay boy, or the little boy, to do whatever. And next thing you know, he comes out in a dress, and so he's dancing for his two gay dads. Normal, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to do? Is have a couple of queer dads and then push a kid into putting on a dress and putting on a little show for you so you can be a couple of perverts, pedophiles. Of course. Hey, that's all in a day's work over there in Hollywood. What do you think they're doing over there? Did you think they're doing something right over there? They're not. Okay, here's another one. City of Ghosts. This one introduces characters that use made-up they-them pronouns, confusing kids, and also convinces them that they can be non-binary. Of course. All right, let's see. What is this one? What is the name of it? Yikes, Ada Twist, Scientist. A show for 7-year-olds showcases young students coming together to set up and celebrate their teacher's gay wedding. Oh, Barack and Michelle Obama are the show's executive producers. Imagine that. Big Mike, in case you haven't heard of that, okay? Big Mike has to do with this one. The Obamas. Of course they're going to produce trans filth. You know, is Big Mike a tranny? Well, most people think so. Okay, so then we've got the Dead End Paranormal Park. We've already talked about that one. Oh, this one. Transformers. You wouldn't think they could push it in Transformers. Oh, but they do. Transformers Earthspark. Promotes the use of made-up pronouns like they, them. And, you know, the Transformers talking to this other Transformer or whoever, and, you know, the pronouns get done incorrectly. So the Transformer has to apologize because they, you know, the pronouns were wrong. Transformers. Yeah. That's all this stuff is filth. Okay. The Babysitter's Club. It pushes transgenderism on kids. In this particular episode, it's shaming characters for misgendering and demands that hospital staff refer and treat to a boy as a girl. So a boy comes in there, but, you know, this is a little kid, says he's a girl, and it shames people for saying, "Oh, how's your son?" "How dare you call him a boy?" Like, well, he's a boy. "How dare you call him a boy?" Well, he has boy body parts. "How dare you? How could you? How terrible. That's a little girl. Can't you see that?" And this kid is supposedly in a hospital. So now, if a doctor has to work, you know, on a little boy, he has to know your anatomy. You can't pretend you're a little girl when you don't have little girl parts. But again, you're a demented. You're delusional. You're a lunatic. Okay, that's what you are if you believe this garbage. Again, mostly Democrats, mostly lunatic left. Okay. All right, let's see. And here, let's go with one more. Netflix show, Strawberry Shortcake, Barry in the Big City. It's promoting, of course, transgender and has drag queens. So, oh boy. I mean, good stuff. Real good stuff here. But, you know, what do you expect? What do you really expect from these devils? So anyway, so then we go on, and of course, come to find out, you know, Netflix has got people working for them that are obviously this way, or it wouldn't be there. They've got another guy here. His name is Wade Davis, and he's the president of Inclusion Strategy at Netflix. He formerly served as an LGBTQ inclusion consultant for the NFL, and he worked with Barack Obama's campaign. I mean, come on now. Everybody knows Barack Obama was nothing but more than a government plant, right? He has no degrees. He's not even an American citizen. But they keep pretending that he is, you know. He was stuck in there to do stuff just like this, to get filth out there, destroy. That's all, that's all these people do. Lunatic Left. Anyway, so yeah, he goes on and, he thinks that all shows should be injected with woke propaganda and pride. And if you don't, then you're a racist. So anyway, so after this came out on X and Elon Musk started, and the libs of TikTok and other people started showing people what they're doing and what's in these shows, and Netflix is also openly discriminating against, guess who? White people. You can't be white and work in any of these places because, whites are under attack right now. So, you're not diverse enough. You don't fit under the DEI category if you're white. So, yeah. And they've posted all of the information on that. And so what turns out is people have been boycotting and getting rid of Netflix, which I think you should. And up to now, they're saying at the time this was reported, they had lost $15 billion in stocks from people canceling, and now they're up to 20. So, yeah. Basically, if a company has these radical ideologies, they're pushing transgender on children, they're pushing gay on children, and basically putting little pictures, half-naked pictures of little kids up there, they should get rid of them. And these companies are never going to learn unless people just stop using them. Stop paying for it. They're making all this money from you. From people that, I've got to have that TV. I've got to have that Netflix. I've got to have it. And so you're paying them, and they're making billions, probably trillions. And so they're like, we can do anything we want. So now we'll indoctrinate their children behind their backs. So I don't have Netflix, but if I did have Netflix, I would cancel it. And so, they're losing money left and right, which is good. They need to. Put them out of business. I mean, if you want to watch this stuff, go watch it. But, these guys are trying to sneak it in. That's what they do. They try to sneak it and train your kids behind your back. So, anyway, I just thought I'd let you know that. I thought I'd talk a little bit about the thing that's going on with Netflix, and that's it, if you haven't heard. So, lots and lots of people have canceled. They've lost billions. They're saying 20 billion now. So maybe they'll learn their lesson. I doubt it. I'm sure it's owned. The thing's probably owned by some LGBTQ transgender freak. God only knows, And it's always these old liberal men and liberal women that are pushing this junk. And they don't really care. I'll tell you right now. Do you know what it is? It's a fetish. These are old perverted men sitting around, and they want to see little naked children. That's what this boils down to. Okay, they're perverts. And they're trying to get this stuff so they can gratify themselves on it. It's their fetish. And these other men dressing up as women, it's a fetish to them. Okay? They're not really thinking they're a woman. Okay? They you know what I'm saying? Okay, it's a fetish. It's like porn. Okay? They like dressing up as a woman. Okay, and parading themselves around. It has nothing to do with, really thinking you're a woman. These are just sexual perverts is what they are. That's what they're always going to be. But see, they want it legal so they can get away with it. Because most of them are probably doing this stuff illegally right now. It's on the books. It's illegal. But see, they want to get away with it. So they keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it and trying to normalize it. So they're not happy You know, a 70, 60, 70-year-old perverted man, he's not happy with an 18-year-old and up. Oh, no. We have to do 8-year-olds. We have to mess around with 5-year-olds. That's what they want. As if an 18-year-old is not young enough for them, that was still a child. Oh, no. We don't want what the state considers an adult. We have to go down to people in diapers. Babies in diapers. That's the kind of sickos these are. It's demonic, is what it is. So, you know, if they can't have you to kill your baby, and they can't have you to chop your baby up after, you know, or chop body parts off your baby after it's born, well, then they want to, you know, abuse your baby after, you know, gets a little too old, we're done with you. You know, I'm sure they just kill them at that point. But so anyway, so all these devils, and, you know, they're all that way. So anything Hollywood and stuff is all perverted to begin with. As a Christian, you should probably stay away from it. Okay, because it's filth. It's trash. It always has been. All they push is, it doesn't matter what kind of show, because I watch old movies. You know, all they do is push evolution. They push the globe. Everything that's anti-biblical, anti-God, that's all they talk about. Even in old movies. You can't get away from it. That's what they're designed to do, is propaganda. So if I were you, I'd dump it all if you can do it. At least wean yourself off of it. But anyway, I guess that's it for today on this podcast. I try not to go over an hour. I try to stick around 40 minutes, because I'm sure people are can't stand listening to me for much more than that. But I'm going to put this little deal up here again, if you can see it. Again, it's the Skiba News Nation TrutherCon 2025 in Dallas, Texas, and October 25th through 26th. Now, hey, I'm not getting paid anything to talk about this. I had to pay to go to it. I bought a ticket, and so I had to buy a ticket to go, and I'm having to buy a ticket to watch it. But I just want to let you guys know, if anybody that listens to this show is in that area, I will be there at this conference. If you'd like to meet and greet, or say hi, or if you go to the conference, and let me know. Like I said, I'll be wearing one of my shirts, one of my It's Flat Bro shirts. I'm going to give away, a few of these to some people, some Flat Earth Bibles. And I'm also going to bring, some other stuff like that, maybe some stickers. I'm going to bring some business cards. So if you're there, say hi. If not, that's cool too. But I will be there. You might check that out. If you check out their website, you might find it interesting. I mean, it looks like they're going to have about 8 or 9 different speakers there. I think 8 maybe. And a lot of them are people that are on YouTube that are truthers. So a lot of them some of them talk about Flat Earth. Flat Earth Dave's going to be there. Some of them talk about a lot of biblical stuff. Talk about the Nephilim, talk about pyramids. So a lot of stuff like that. Stuff that I talk about. Now, I may not agree with everything they say. I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of these people. I think it's going to be interesting. It's the first one that I've ever went to. So anyway, I guess that's it for now. Thanks for listening. Again, check out truthseekersministry.org for a free sticker. Go check out It's Flat Bro if you want to know some more about Flat Earth. Other than that, hey, thanks for listening. I hope that it helped you. I pray that this stuff does help somebody. At least open up your mind, think about some stuff. The whole key here is to get saved before it's too late. Okay, now this stuff we talk about, like Netflix and stuff, I mean, that's the world. That is the world we live in. But, as a Christian, you were supposed to be in the world, but not of the world. We have to live in the world, but you don't have to be of the world. You don't have to participate and go along with everything, okay? Think about that. Get saved before it's too late. If you don't know how to get saved, email me and I'll tell you, but it's on my website. Real simple. Other than that, thanks again for listening. Until we meet again, God bless you.